Traditionally, we've thought of engagement, citizen engagement with government as sort of a way to empower people democratically, right? That this enables, Joe Public to contribute back in to the institutions that shape his life. Another perspective on the idea of citizen engagement, the rationale, might not be that it empowers citizens as democratic actors, but that it helps government do its job better. So that, two heads are better than one, government doesn't have all the answers, this kind of logic, right? That policy issues are complex, and whether you're an expert who studies that issue in your PhD thesis, or whether you're an individual who's affected by that issue every day of your life, government probably stands to benefit by tapping into your knowledge. When we focus on that, on sort of how can government tap into external bodies of knowledge that help it do its job better, that tends to fit better, I think, with some of these new innovations enabled by social media, let's say. So when you think about it, as you go through your daily life and you search your phone to get directions to the nearest pizza store, or you review a book, or you tweet your friend, all of those actions leave behind a digital trail, a digital shadow or footprint, if you will, that we can later go back onto the web and scrape. And so what you get is that unmediated access to what people are actually doing. And as more and more of our lives move online, we can then identify really interesting patterns that a lot of organizations have an incentive to understand. For governments, it might be, let's say, tracking the number of people who mention on Twitter that they feel sick or that they think they have the flu. In one study, they were actually able to track the spread of a flu faster than sort of traditional public healthcare organizations could with their usual methods of understanding that phenomenon, the flu. So it can give insight into sort of patterns that are relevant to designing policy. In this case, it might be knowing where to dispatch healthcare workers, or knowing where we need to get vaccines first, or better understanding where flu's most likely and most rapidly going to spread, and then developing public health policies around that. Traditionally, if government wanted to know what the public thought about an issue, they would host a consultation, a roundtable, they might have a town hall. Now I think governments are starting to get it, and they're actually thinking a lot more creatively about the web as a platform for information exchange, which is really all it is, right? And for governments, that opens up huge opportunities, probably the biggest one being big data. Big data sets have always existed, and governments have actually always had relatively large sets of data in their holdings. I talked a little bit already about how that can be used for sort of analyzing policy and feeding back into the policy process, but it can also enable innovators with some tech skills to create interesting apps or products that serve some social end. So the classic example is the transit app. So government has all the data on how the transit system runs, where buses are, what routes they take, their schedules. And if you can take all that data and put it into an Excel spreadsheet, someone who's feeling creative and has the tech skills can take that and then develop a really user-friendly application for your phone that enables you to punch in the stop you want, where you want to go, and it'll give you a series of routes. And we've all used them. Now, government could create that themselves. That's an option. But the question is, why bother if there are other people outside of government who want to contribute this social good? And they might do it because government has run an apps contest where they say we're going to give $10,000 to the most innovative app that gets voted through say a citywide challenge. And that's one way to encourage that kind of innovation. There are exciting opportunities with some of these innovative models of producing public goods or of raising public funds, but they haven't yet demonstrated their value such that they could, say, replace the state. There are a lot of citizens who are interested in improving their communities, who want to use their skills to produce something that makes other people's lives easier. The problem might come around accountability here, and also a more sinister suspicion that some of this might be hiding a government who's trying to sort of outsource its tasks. civil servants that are working, and my experiences in the federal government who are engaged in these issues, they see this as a huge opportunity to change how government operates, to make government more democratic, to make government sort of smarter and more efficient, and also to sort of cultivate this really innovative workplace that rewards kind of creative thinking. Our kind of collective appreciation for the civil service and what it does has kind of faded over the years, and I really think that this is providing a new opportunity to make government sort of a think tank of really innovative thinking, and that's exciting.
How is technology changing your world? Join the conversation at tdo.org/pull.